easy money. And I'm not speaking to...
No, they do.
They want the low-hanging fruit. Let's get the case, let's build it. If there's a large insurance policy out there, let's get that. Only if there's a big footprint or there's some reason to go after them or there's a principle of the thing involved, will they generally go after it if there's enough insurance out there to compensate them properly for their time and effort. They go after the easy money, close the case. Nobody has to go to trial.
Yeah, go to the next case.
That's a lot of work to go to trial. And then once you go to trial, nobody has to go through the collections process. If you win the trial and so forth. If you don't go to trial, you just settle it. The chances of a legal malpractice claim are much smaller because the client agrees to the conclusion before the settlement before it's actually effected. So everybody's motivated to try and settle this. The things that pierce that and keep people going further is if they see a huge amount of assets out there, again, the big footprint, or the personality is such that they just have to pursue it.
Right. There's people out there.
AJ, of course, is the most extreme example. I know several people who I've worked with over the years who are just very, very small OJs. They're actually nice people, but they come across in a coarse or
it piss people off.
Piss people off by their very nature. Just there's this wonderful book that's out now called Blink. I read it over the weekend, and it says, have you read it?
Yeah.
And it says that you can tell, these people who are studying doctors can tell in 3 minutes, and watching them with a patient as to whether they're likely to be sued or not. And it all has to do, of course, with bedside manner and so forth. But a great characteristic. But it's that type of personality that if that's a real possibility, then we need to plan around.
And this is something exactly when you're talking to clients, or if you're sitting there, if you're listening out there, you really need to see, again, do I have a risky personality? Do I like racing boats? Do I like flying airplanes? Do I like investing in low-income properties, flipping properties? And you'd be surprised at how many lawsuits are coming out of fraud lawsuits. You went and took a property that was in foreclosure, you got an assignment, and you turned and flipped it, and you thought, God, I made 10 grand, that's really cool. Next thing you're sued because you took advantage of this old lady in her house.
Right.
Yeah, it's happened too.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden it's a fraud lawsuit, and they're coming after you, and attorneys just don't put in one count. We call a count just, I'm going to sue you for one thing. Nah, sue them for everything you can think of. Let God sort it out.
Yeah.
That's kind of a joke. Racketeering, unfair deceptive claims practice, or unfair deceptive retail practices. But not retail. Who cares? Put it in there. Anything you can, so when you get a lawsuit, it's that thick, because it scares the person into settling.
Funny, it's usually a copy of the same lawsuit they filed against someone else the prior week.
Yeah, exactly.
Word processing.
Well, attorneys like killing trees. They like putting as much paper out as possible. That's how we get paid. Putting paper out. Burying the site. When we say the weight of the evidence, we literally mean the weight of the evidence. We want to bring in as much heavy stuff as we can. That means we win. So, but if you're listening out there, and when you're talking to your clients, really sit there and go through, what do they do? Who are they? Where are they going? What type of businesses are they in? And most of the time, clients won't tell you. As you know, you've dealt with clients. They really don't think things are too risky. They don't think it's too risky that their son races jet skis or that they have jet skis. They don't think it's too risky, that if they're a doctor or something, that they're dating people in their office. See, there's other type of litigation that comes out there that is not protected by insurance, or you don't have insurance for it. There's sexual harassment, sexual discrimination. There's all kinds of personal things that we don't think about. We don't think about certain type of risky behavior. And these are things that no matter what, we have to go ahead and build that castle walls. And I look at it that you may start with a low wall for your clients. And you say, okay, let's look at your risk that you have here. But as you go on, you have a duty to keep telling them to build the wall higher, slowly. It doesn't cost a lot if you build over time. If you have to build a 100-foot wall in a week because you're getting sued, now you got a big bill. You're building it over time. And also, we like building asset protection plans over years, because the longer it's there, the less of a chance you have of someone getting over the wall, coming at you. So remember, when you're doing it, look at the people's personalities, the industries they're in, what they're doing, because you could have someone that, I had recently a deputy sheriff. What does a deputy sheriff need asset protection planning for? Probably not, because even if he shoots someone, unless he goes and does something maliciously, I'm going to cap someone 4 times. you know, he's pretty much a ham and egger, goes to work, protects the community, does a great job. Well, I find out this guy's got $5 million in single-family homes that he's trying to flip. And he has huge pensions, and he's got retirements, and he's got, you know, money's inherited. So, you know, he's gone ahead and complicated his life. So sometimes you have to ask that question. You know, what are you going to do? You know, well, yeah, I may be a deputy sheriff, but I'm also going to do this. I'm going to, you know, invest in, you know, single-family homes or low-income housing. You know, then all of a sudden they become very risky. You say, well, as you do that, let's look at actually setting up a plan from day one that you can run and hide behind the walls. So why don't we talk about some of the things you can do, if you think that's good to move to that.
Okay, great. Some of the tools, that's how I call them, some of the toolbox, it's all a matter of construction and putting things together. Some of the tools that we have, that we might use, and certainly we don't use these tools all the time. And let's talk about number one, which is the law itself, the statutes. And we could say statutes and case law as well.
Right.
And what this is, that the law has certain provisions in it that say if you do this, then creditors can't take this away from you. The biggest, of course, example is ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, started in '73, I believe. And it has what's called anti-alienation provisions in it.
So that's nationwide. So for people looking at this throughout the nation, that works
nationwide. That's another reason I want to use that particular example. It says that if you have a pension plan at your work, and of course this plan, this law was put together back when everybody worked for big corporations, AT&T and so forth, not so now. But if you have a pension plan at your work, ERISA says none of your creditors can take that plan from you. It's very rarely ever been broken, ever been challenged successfully, and it's still part of the real fundamental part of asset protection. Unfortunately, it's pretty lousy as far as income tax planning, and pretty lousy